You can be anything you want to be. You've heard this mantra your entire life, haven't you? It was supposed to liberate you, to fill you with endless possibility and hope. Instead, it has become the source of your deepest exhaustion. Welcome to the paradox of unlimited choice, where freedom has morphed into the heaviest chain you'll ever wear. Byung-Chul Han identified this as the defining tragedy of our time. We have achieved unprecedented freedom only to discover that freedom itself can become a form of tyranny. We are no longer oppressed by external forces telling us what we cannot do. Instead, we are crushed by the infinite weight of having to choose who we must become. Listen to the language of your inner dialogue. I should be more successful. I could be happier. I must optimize my life. I need to find my passion. I have to discover my authentic self. These aren't the thoughts of someone celebrating freedom. These are the mental chains of someone imprisoned by their own possibilities. Han called this condition the fatigue of the self, the bone-deep exhaustion that comes from being the sole architect of your own existence. In previous eras, your identity was largely determined by forces beyond your control: your family, your class, your religion, your community. These constraints were often oppressive, yes, but they also provided something we've lost: a sense of place, purpose, and belonging that didn't require constant self-creation. Now you must invent yourself daily. You must choose your career, your relationships, your values, your lifestyle, your identity, even your gender and sexuality. You must curate your personality like a social media profile, constantly updating and optimizing the project that is you. The freedom to be anything has become the burden of having to be everything. Think about standing in a supermarket aisle facing 50 different types of breakfast cereal. What should be a simple choice becomes a moment of existential anxiety. Will this cereal align with my health goals? Does it reflect my values? Am I making the optimal decision? Now multiply this tiny decision by every choice you make in a day. From what to wear, to who to date, to what career to pursue. The accumulated weight of endless choosing is crushing your soul. Han understood that this isn't just decision fatigue. It's identity fatigue. You're not just tired from making choices. You're exhausted from the constant pressure to choose correctly, to maximize your potential, to become the best version of yourself. You've internalized the logic of optimization and applied it to your very being. You've become a startup with yourself as the product, and the pressure to perform is relentless. The cruelest aspect of this freedom prison is that you blame yourself for not thriving within it. When previous generations struggled, they could point to external oppression, systemic barriers, or social constraints. When you struggle, the message is clear. It's your fault. You had every opportunity, every choice, every freedom. If you're not happy, successful, or fulfilled, you obviously made the wrong decisions. The failure is yours alone. This self-blame creates what Han calls auto-aggression, violence turned inward. Unable to rebel against external oppression because it no longer exists in obvious forms, you turn your frustration on yourself. You become your own harshest critic, your own most demanding boss, your own most unforgiving judge. The freedom to be anything becomes the prison of never being enough. Consider how you consume self-help culture. Every book promises to unlock your potential. Every podcast offers life-changing insights. Every guru has the formula for success. But notice what this really represents: the frantic search for someone to tell you who you should be in a world that insists you must figure it out yourself. You're desperately seeking the constraints that freedom has removed, the guidance that choice has eliminated. The modern epidemic of anxiety, depression, and burnout isn't accidental. It's the inevitable result of a system that demands you be the sole author of your own meaning, while providing no framework for how to do so. You're drowning in possibility while starving for purpose. You have infinite options, but no sense of direction. Han reveals that we've confused freedom with choice, liberation with options. True freedom isn't the ability to choose from endless alternatives. It's the capacity to act from a deep sense of purpose that transcends choice itself. But purpose can't be chosen like a menu item. It emerges from commitment, from limitation, from saying no to some possibilities so you can say yes fully to others. The most successful people you admire haven't maximized their options. They've constrained them. They've chosen a path and committed to it deeply, rather than keeping all doors open. They've found freedom not in endless possibility, but in the discipline of focused purpose. They've discovered that saying no to most things allows them to say yes completely to what matters. But our culture makes this kind of commitment nearly impossible. We're trained to keep all options open, to never close doors, to always be ready to pivot or optimize. We mistake commitment for limitation rather than recognizing it as the foundation of genuine freedom. We've been sold the lie that freedom means never having to choose, when in fact freedom only emerges through the courage to choose definitively. The digital age has amplified this exhaustion exponentially. Social media shows you infinite versions of who you could be. Dating apps present endless romantic possibilities. Job platforms display countless career paths. Online courses promise to teach you anything. The paralysis of infinite choice has been digitized and gamified, making the prison of freedom more beautiful and more inescapable than ever. Yet Han offers a path forward, though it requires a radical redefinition of freedom. Instead of freedom as endless choice, we must rediscover freedom as the ability to commit deeply, to choose constraints that serve our flourishing, to find purpose in limitation rather than expansion. This isn't about returning to traditional restrictions, but about consciously choosing the boundaries that allow your authentic self to emerge. Start by recognizing that your fatigue isn't personal failure. It's a natural response to an impossible situation. You can't optimize your way out of the human condition. You can't choose your way to happiness. You can't self-improve your way to fulfillment. These are the false promises of a culture that has mistaken complexity for sophistication. Real freedom begins when you stop trying to be everything and start choosing to be something specific. When you trade the exhausting pursuit of optimization for the committed practice of depth. When you recognize that saying no to infinite possibilities is what allows you to say yes to actual life. The fatigue of the self isn't a bug in the system of modern freedom. It's a feature. It's your soul's way of telling you that unlimited choice isn't the goal. Connection is, purpose is, meaning is. These don't come from maximizing options, but from the courage to choose one path and walk it fully. In a world that tells you that you can be anything, perhaps the most radical act is choosing to be something and finding freedom not in the choice itself, but in the depth of your commitment to it.